So Thomas, thank you so much for joining me today. Do you want to introduce yourself?
All right, good morning. Thanks a lot for having me. My name is Thomas Edelmann, and I'm the Managing Director and Founder of Road Safety UAE.
And you've been in the UAE for a while now.
Yeah, for 19 years. Yeah,
Oh my
so
gosh.
we came in the year 2000 to a different Dubai.
Yes.
A lot happened since then, of course. Exciting times, up and downs. So we're getting used to the waves of the Middle East. Yeah. And I think it's all about riding those waves and being true to yourself, being true to your passion, and just trying to add value as much as we can.
But I think since you've been here, you've made a major difference to road safety here. I mean, that's been your primary focus, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, for the first 10 years of being here in the UAE, I've been working for a big corporation, and I just felt I wanted to do more. I wanted to give back, because so many people here in this country, they're coming, they're a little bit selfish. They're here to fill their pockets and to leave the country again. So at one point in time, I said, no, this is not me. This is not enough. I wanted to give back, and having been or having lived here for 19 years, more than 19 years now. Road safety was always very, very close to my heart. So I observed a lot of misbehavior on the roads. In the year 2000, when we came, our son Oliver, he was a small shrimp, so he was not even 5 years old. Of course, as caring parents, we were very concerned about him, and back then already road safety was very, very on the radar screen for us. So we bought, for example, the biggest car we can buy, just to protect Oliver. Of course, we installed state-of-the-art child seat just to protect him. But I was always pregnant with the idea of doing something about road safety, and about 6 years ago we started actually. So we gave birth to Road Safety UAE, and it was a very exciting journey. We get a lot of support from governmental entities like Ministry of Interior, Police, DOT, RTA, just to name a few. We get a lot of support from the leading media in the UAE and in the region, because everybody wants to support safer roads. Everybody has something to say. Everybody has something to contribute.
You said you came here and you bought a really big car, the biggest one you could find. Do you think that makes people drive worse, because they think that they're never going to have a crash because they're in a big car?
I think it's a misconception to a certain degree. I totally agree with that. I'm driving right now a much smaller car, but back then for me it was really all about the safety aspect. So we wanted to have as much metal around us as possible, and as much metal around our beloved son as possible. So that's the reason why back then we went for the biggest possible car that
With probably the biggest engine and the most carbon footprint.
The biggest gas guzzler that you could think about. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But over the time you've been here, you must have seen a huge change in the people's attitudes towards gas guzzlers. I mean, do you think in the UAE they're starting a while ago, starting last week? Are they starting to realise that you can't just keep polluting the environment and hope that it's somebody else's problem?
I think it's a bigger movement. I think there is certainly a move towards sustainability. You see a lot of sustainability events, you see sustainability awards, you see companies that dedicated solely to the purpose of sustainability. The media is reporting very, very much about sustainability. And don't forget, road safety is also part of sustainability. Also, according to the UN, they have 2 dedicated topics under their sustainability umbrella, which is dedicated to road safety. So sustainability overall is getting more and more attention for the right reasons. And I think as a consequence, people are getting more and more conscious about their water consumption. They're getting more conscious about their electricity consumption. They're more conscious about which vehicles are we driving, what is our CO2 footprint. So I think the country and the key stakeholders in the country, they're doing a lot, and we are going in the right direction.
Do you see a commitment to net zero anytime soon?
When I'm attending conferences, and we had this little chat before, when I'm attending conferences, there is a lot of lip service, I think, and many people are really getting carried away with the future of EV, with the future of autonomous driving, just to speak in road safety terms about things. Yes, there will be more EVs on the roads, there will be more hybrid vehicles on the road, there will be hopefully also more vehicles on the road being fueled by neutral fuels and similar concepts. But we have to be realistic. We have to be realistic in the sense of there are future solutions, and there are, as I call it, near future solutions. I was just very fortunate to speak recently at the Sustainable Transportation conference in the UAE. And I like to start my speeches to ask the audience to say, well, okay, we just listened to EV, we listened to autonomous driving. So who in the room came today with an EV vehicle? Yeah? And 0 hands.
But I'm the only one in this building that has an electric car.
Fantastic.
The whole building, we have 21 floors,
Yeah.
and I'm the only one with an electric car. It's
Fantastic.
crazy. Yeah, but why?
Yeah. Well, I think there are a couple of reasons, and again, we are on the right trajectory, so to say. So we're going in the right direction. I'm very close to a lot of OEMs, to a lot of car manufacturers, and all of them are working full steam on introducing EVs. We are at different levels of market penetration or market readiness, so to say. We do have EVs in the market already. The Chevy Bolt, just to name one, is readily available.
It's also one of the ugliest cars I've ever seen in my life. And most of the EVs, I take you to task actually, because you have more to do with the car manufacturers than I do. But when they launch a new EV, they seem to bring in, I don't know, somebody who went to a different design school and say, design a really ugly car that nobody wants to buy, and then we'll put an electric motor in it. Where are all the beautiful cars out there? I mean, think about BMW. I mean, if you look at their i3, that is a car even my children won't drive. They want an electric car, but they said, not that thing, it's just ugly. Why not make it beautiful like the 5 Series, the 7 Series, the 3, any of the beautiful cars that they create?
Well, I think again it's a journey. At this mentioned conference, Porsche, they displayed their EV, which is a stunner. It's just a beautiful, beautiful car. I personally also like vehicles like Tesla. So just from an experience standpoint, when you look at the Tesla from the outside, from the inside, I think they are beautiful cars. But I think it's going beyond beauty. It's really about commitment. I think people might not even care about, is this an ugly vehicle, is it a beautiful vehicle? Of course, there's nothing wrong if the vehicle is beautiful as well. But I think we're really talking to those people who have the right mindset, who say, you know what, yes, I really want to be neutral. I want to contribute to a cleaner environment, to a better environment. I want to live in a more sustainable manner. I mean, I go shopping with a big ugly jute bag. Maybe a plastic bag, it looks nice. I don't care. I'm just committed to the fact that they are using a recyclable bag is much more sustainable than using plastic bags. So I think it's design. Of course, it would be nice if we have also beautifully designed cars. In my opinion, we have a couple, maybe not all of them, but it's more about really the essence of it.
I think they have to take choice away from the consumer. I mean, basically, when you go in to buy your new Volkswagen, there should be a petrol, a diesel, and an electric. They should be the same model, should have the same level of trim, and you should just decide which engine you want in it, whether it's an electric, petrol, or a diesel. And I really don't think that the car industry is working hard on this. I think that they are running scared. I think Tesla and a couple of the other new startups has really frightened them. I also think with my Tesla, that my service intervals are 3 times what the normal service intervals are on a petrol car, so they're not going to make any money out of me on servicing the car. So where is the traditional car industry going to go without the service money?
Yeah. Well, I think it's really like a big shift for the automotive industry overall. But ultimately, we are dictating. The consumers are dictating. So if we want EVs with all the benefits and maybe also the negative consequences, if there are any, so I think the industry will follow. And we see very encouraging signs. At this mentioned conference, there was a lady speaking from Norway. And Norway being the leading country in terms of EV. And she gave a full rundown of why EVs are so successful in Norway. And it was a fantastic presentation. And she also showcased, for example, a test where they took all the existing EV cars available in Norway to a road test. And they were measuring their range. So manufacturer says this is the range. So what is reality? And the good news was that basically nobody was sandbagging. So it was really about when Volkswagen said this is our range, so the vehicle went about this mileage, and it was very, very exciting to see what's happening in advanced countries. But again, the infrastructure is right there. So the entire setup from a legal standpoint, from a taxation standpoint, from an incentive standpoint, from an education standpoint is there. And I think it's very, very encouraging to see that, because ultimately, again, the consumer then has the choice between a diesel-powered engine, a gasoline-powered engine, or EV. And the majority of new cars is now already EV, which is fantastic.
I have
so
to
it does
say,
work.
I'm doing my bit to educate people. Every time I pull up next to a Porsche at the traffic lights, and he looks over and he sees the Tesla logo, and he thinks, electric car, what a waste of space. And when he sees me somewhere in the distance a couple of seconds later, I think I'm educating them a little bit. But I wanted to come back to something else that you were talking about, the intersection between road safety and autonomous vehicles. You said you go to a lot of conferences and people talk about autonomous vehicles, and yet none of them has actually come there in one. Well, I have semi-autonomous mode on my Tesla, and I can tell you it's the most dangerous thing I've ever seen in my life. First of all, it gives you a false sense of security. So I put it into semi-autonomous mode, and it says, okay, I'm going to keep you within the lanes of the motorway. Well, it does keep me within the lanes, but unfortunately everybody else on the road doesn't stick within the lanes. They're doing their mobile texting, they're shouting at the kids in the back, they're eating sandwiches, whatever they're doing, they're wandering. So although my car's staying straight in the middle of the road, the people all around me are actually wandering, and if you're a human driving the vehicle, you actually have to take account of that. Now, my car does know where all those other cars are, but it doesn't know what to do with the fact that they are wandering. It also records weird incidences, and every time when I get home, it links up to my home Wi-Fi and uploads to Tesla weird things that have happened. But honestly, in California, there can't be many gardeners on bicycles cycling the wrong way down the fast lane of a motorway, but we have that here. And this is my point, is that autonomous vehicles are a fantastic concept, and people are getting very excited about them because there's loads of technology and there's loads of money to be made out of it. But having actually driven in a semi-autonomous mode, I'm very happy that I'm in control.
Yeah, well, I understand what you're saying. I clearly hear you. The thing is, we have to again think about where we are today and where we want to be. Yeah, so in the future world where all the vehicles are driving in an autonomous mode, it will be fantastic. But the big question the industry also tries to answer or to find answers to is, so how do we manage the transition? And so how does maybe even a fully autonomous vehicle interact with a totally non-autonomous vehicle? And also from a legal standpoint, so what happens if there are crashes? What happens if there are incidents? So whose fault is it, etc. So there are a lot of questions to be overcome. But from a pure road safety perspective, and again, we are Road Safety UE, from a pure road safety perspective, all the different degrees of driver assistance measures, they will help us. And there's, for example, one thing, and we love to talk about the near future. We don't only want to talk about the future, but then when we think about the near future, technology and certain elements of autonomous driving and assisted driving can help us dramatically. So for example, what's very close to our heart is the safety of minibuses, of vans. We have just seen a couple of accidents. In one accident, about 7 or 8 people died a couple of weeks ago. And when you look at the minivans and what is allowed right now to be on the roads, it is, from our point of view, totally suboptimal, because there is, for example, no automated braking system in place. There is no distance warning in place. There is no lane departure prevention mechanism in place. And all of these technologies, and we're not talking about fully automated vehicles, but all of these technologies, they are available right now. And we are also at this conference where I spoke recently, I also held up the flag, and actually I spoke at 2 conferences, also another one from the Ministry of Interior. And we said, guys, how can we allow these vehicles to be on the roads? Yeah, why we have technology today we can implement very, very quickly to help better the situation. So very often we have to ask ourselves the question, okay, which vehicles are we driving? how can we overcome that? Then who is driving those vehicles? So for example, how can we better educate the drivers, and how can we, for example, again, the example of minibuses, of vans, maybe we have to have a special license for these guys.
But it's quite possible the government can do this. I mean, they put seatbelts in for school buses, and this was simply an edict, you will do it.
Absolutely. So, and that's the reason we're very, very hopeful. I mean, we lobbied recently for the introduction of the holistic seatbelt law, and we were one of the voices. And 1st of July 2017 witnessed the introduction of the holistic seatbelt law, which was not there before. So the government has big ears, they have big eyes, they observe, they listen, and they implement the right things.
I have to ask you this question. I mean, I've been in Dubai for 10 years now, and I've seen, maybe because I have the chance to look on the internet, but I've seen what happens if you have a baby on your lap and you think that wrapping your hands around them like this is going to protect them. Or you have your seatbelt on, or you don't have your seatbelt on. The way that the baby gets crushed when they're just sitting on your lap. How, when people love their children here as much as they love kids, how can they still allow the children to roam around inside the car? I'm driving past the car and there's a kid climbing from the front to the back, waving at everybody. How does that happen?
It's education. It's very, very basic education. We do a lot of research in that space, and at the beginning of 2017, this was just about 6 months before the introduction of the holistic seatbelt law, we did a series of research projects, and we went broadly to the media, and the media covered us very, very nicely. So we raised our voice to the maximum extent to exactly address things like that. And we asked people, so do you think seatbelts improve safety? Yeah, and people say yes, so people understand the concept. And then we asked people, so but when you're driving, are you always using the seatbelt? 78% say, only 78% say yes. The person on the co-driver's seat, 72%. It should be 100%. People in the back, what's your guess?
50?
11%. 11% said yes, we always buckle up. So we did that for the adult segment, but we also did it for children. So we went to people and we said, so do you have children that would need car seats? Yeah, people said yes. To what extent do you think people actually also say yes, I do have a child seat? It's about 70%. So 30% they just don't have child seats in place.
But when I bought my new Jaguar from the local dealership here, it came with a seatbelt warning sign on the dashboard and a very annoying ping, 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 ping. This was a long time ago before I bought the Tesla. But it also came with a little metal stainless steel clip, which was to spoof the seatbelt sensor into thinking that I'd put the seatbelt on. That was delivered by the guys delivering the car. They actually had a way of overriding the seatbelt sensor so that my shirt didn't get crumpled or whatever. But madness.
It is, and again, but it's about understanding why people behave in a certain manner. Like when we did this piece of research, so we asked people, and we said, okay, so now we understand, you know, a third of you don't have child seats. Tell us, why do you not have child seats? And then you have all kind of crazy, from our point of view, crazy answers where people say, you know what, child seats are too expensive. And you know what, I don't know where to buy them and what is the proper child seat. And you know, my kids don't like to be strapped in. So these are the top 3 mentions there. And again, we have to work with the concerned stakeholders to overcome that. It's about educating, because as you said rightly, everybody loves the children. It is very simple, and our credo is, if you love your child, buckle them up.
So this is actually where I wanted to get to, about a question of messaging. So you had a big challenge here and in many other countries where people don't want to wear seatbelts because they're uncomfortable, they don't like them, the children don't want to wear them, whatever reason. But if you don't wear a seatbelt and you have an accident, you're definitely going to be in worse situation than if you did have a seatbelt on, and in many cases you're simply going to die. Now, the simple message should be, in sort of my text, wear a seatbelt or die. Now, people don't like that because it's alarmist, and this is where we've got to with climate change. Can we please all aim at net zero, or we're all going to die? And that's sort of the message that's coming from Extinction Rebellion, Greta Thunberg, and all the rest of the media encompassing this. And of course, the subtlety is we're not all going to die. our world is going to change. It's a bit like I'm going to be in a worse situation going through the windscreen than if I was wearing a seatbelt. So how do we change the climate change messaging so that people don't see us as crazies, but actually do take notice and do start wearing the equivalent of a seatbelt?
Yeah. Well, I think overall it's again a topic of education, and I was just reading an article in an Austrian online newspaper yesterday evening, and there was just a climate conference where many people are super disappointed about the very, very, very weak level of commitment, even on a state level. So there are a couple, I think they mentioned 4 big nations, 4 big states in particular, who should have actually done the opposite of what they have been doing. And they also put a picture there of a demonstration, and one of the ladies, she held like a carton board sign, and it just says, as little as we might think we are, every one of us can make a difference. And I think this is it, and it's not about waiting for maybe the big decision makers to do what is right. They will do it sooner or later. But again, the power resides with us, with the consumers, with the individuals, and it's all about our behavior. And I think it's all about being also true to ourselves. So could I do better? Then why don't I do it? So do I have the power? And for example, I hate plastic. I hate plastic bags. Like we just did our kitchen renovation over the weekend with the contractors, and they sent me to buy new lamps. So I stumbled out of a very well-known retailer with a stack of 7 of those lamps, and the guy said, "Sir, you don't want a bag?" I said, "No, I don't want a bag. Yeah, I mean it's 10 meters to my car. I can manage." And you know what? I did manage. So it's all about education and being true to yourself. Yes, of course, it would have been easier to go just with a big plastic bag, but I didn't want to. So I think it's again, the power resides with us, and the power resides with the small individuals, and every one of us can make a difference, and every one of us should make a difference.
Thomas, on that, I want to say thank you very much, and thank you for all the great work you're doing in road safety.
Thank you very
so
much.
Thank
Nice
you.
working with you. Thank you.